the offense, I'm sure you'd like to score more points, and it didn't happen.
Well, it's two things. Number one, we've got to take care of the football. So much better than we have. And right now we're -7 in that turnover takeaway category. So it's two things. We're turning the ball over far too often, and we're not getting enough takeaways on the defensive side. That has to work together. To put that number in perspective, -7, in the 5 years previous to this season, we'd always been on the plus side, even that first year back in 2008. So, we're turning the ball over way too much. And then the second thing you mentioned is we're not getting into the end zone. And we have to do that much more frequently. And right now in 5 games, we've scored a grand total of 7 touchdowns. That is an all-time low. We're just averaging 14 points a game. And that has to get better. So those two areas certainly will be emphasized this week. It's so uncharacteristic of where we've been in the past. We've been, a year ago we averaged over 30 points a game. Did that again in 2011. That's kind of been the number we've kind of been around. But this year we're just having a very, very difficult time sustaining drives and not shooting ourselves in the foot at some point along that drive. So it's obvious we don't have any real big players out there that are able to get behind receivers or quarterbacks that can, have been able to get the ball to those receivers. That's got to change. We think they're on a roster. We just haven't seen them show up yet.
You guys, rotation of quarterbacks last week on Saturday. On Tuesday this week, do you know who will be your starter on Saturday?
I do not. We have 3 quarterbacks in Kyle Morris, Casey Mintz, and Spencer Phillips, and it's unfortunate we can't settle on one right now. But the way things have gone, Kyle got the start on Saturday against Central Washington, and again played okay. He could play so much better, and then the interception, the second play of the second half, in a game that was a 4-point game, they get the ball, go down and score. Now it's an 11-point game, and that really changed the game around. And Casey came in and again did some good things, but we had 2 critical interceptions in the fourth quarter. So again, we've been our own worst enemy at that, and it'll change, and we're going to have an open look at all 3 quarterbacks and through practice determine who that quarterback will be, and then as we get into the game, try to make sure that we're able to stick with the one. But obviously the mistakes are something that can't be overlooked, and when a team struggles offensively the way we have, struggles with the turnovers and struggles with the inability to score points, so often that attention does focus on the quarterback position.
Injuries with the line, running back position, the mistakes, is it more on the quarterback, or is it just, injuries and kind of putting more pressure on the quarterback, knowing that you don't have your first string running back, or is it a mixture, or is it just on the quarterback?
Well, I'm going to start with the quarterback. Again, he plays the position for a reason, and all our players understand that. Kyle, Casey, Spencer, they accept the responsibility that goes with playing the position that they do. And when things go well, it's oftentimes the quarterback that's getting the compliments and the pats on the back. When things go poorly, they need to be prepared to get that side of the issue as well. So, again, I won't put it on the injuries or the offensive line. It really does come back to the quarterback being able to make the plays when plays are there to be made and make the correct decisions. They've tried too hard, and that's I think that's a common mistake that players will make, is when things aren't going well, you try to do too much and make throws that you should not make, and be too quick with some decisions, and so we need more patience at that position, better reads. We've got to allow our receivers time to get open in their routes, allow time for those routes to develop, and then make certain of our throws. And we've got every interception we've thrown this year on a separate tape we can look at, and nearly every single one, it's a poor decision, poor throw. It's not a defender making a great play. It's not a ball that's tipped and then intercepted. It really comes down to underthrowing receivers on too many occasions, or just a poor decision by the quarterback. So the good thing is that those type of mistakes are correctable, and we're going to continue to work on making sure that we do correct the mistakes, and we need to play a clean football game. We're not an overly talented team. We do have enough talent to win, but we can't go out there and have 3-4 turnovers a game, allow the opponent to score on defense as we did Saturday night with the fumble, and such. We can't overcome those type of mistakes. That's obvious.
Running back position, have you made a decision on Ricky Dooley? And then also Wyatt got into the game, and talk about where he stands this Saturday.
I'll start with Nick Riccadouli. Nick is done for the season. He will have surgery on his knee. That surgery is scheduled for later this month, hopefully, and does have the redshirt year available to him. So we will look to get a medical redshirt for him, and it probably won't be ready to go for spring ball as he recovers from the impending surgery. But we will have Nick Riccadouli for 2014. Daniel Wyatt will start this week again. Jamari Sanders also will play. Daniel came back. I don't think he's 100% yet if you watch him. But, it's his senior year, and he's got only a few games left and wants to make the most of it. So, with losing Nick, it's great to have Daniel come back, because we initially thought with his injury, it could potentially be a season-ending injury as well.
You go up to Western Oregon on Saturday, and it seems like even the last couple of years, tough place to play up there. And last couple of years, I mean, just like you guys, they've had enjoyed success. But to talk about the difficulty of going up there and playing at Western.
It may be the most difficult place for us to play. It's a different atmosphere in the sense that on your sideline there's just open field behind you. You don't have any fans around you, and that's unusual. But the bottom line is they've had a good team, and Western Oregon gets up to play Humboldt State, and Humboldt State needs to get ready to play Western Oregon at their best. We always seem to get their best, and they have been kind of a thorn in our side a little bit the last few years. Even the 9-1 season of 2011, that one loss was at Western Oregon, and so again, they're well coached. They play with great emotion there, and like I said, they get particularly excited for this game. It's their homecoming, so we know again we're going to get their best shot. They're going to and they're coming off a difficult defeat against Azusa Pacific last week, losing late after making a great comeback to have a 2-point conversion to tie it. Got stopped with that. So again, we're going to get Western Oregon's best. It's their homecoming, as I said, and for us to have a chance in this, we're going to have to be at our best.
Seems like you're always playing them on their homecoming. What you talked about cutting down on those mistakes, limiting the miscues and the turnovers, but talk about a game plan going up against the Wolves.
Well, again, I thought our defense made some great strides last week against Central Washington. They played aggressive, physical football, still not forcing enough turnovers. That's the one thing, that category has two sides to it. Yes, we're turning the ball over too much, but we're not getting enough takeaways, and want to try and force the issue and force teams into mistakes in that regard. But Western Oregon, like I said, Ryan Bergman, their quarterback, is the top passer in the conference. He's done very well again. He's a junior, big tall kid that has some tall receivers, 6'7", 6'5" receivers that he can go to. So they've been a team that really has been able to have success through the air, but you can't overlook their run game because they've got a running back that can be effective as well. Defensively, they've got some new faces there. They graduated some very talented players over the last couple of years, but they seem to reload with some equally talented players, although they may be young in terms of their experience. But again, they're not flashy in what they do. They're just very consistent, very physical up front on both sides of the ball. That's always the case when you play a Western Oregon team. And again, they've got us 3 of the last 4 times, so we're going to have to, really, have a solid game plan together, and then travel up to a difficult environment to play in and play our best to if we expect to win this.
We've talked about the struggling, but is there a player or more than one player that you've really been impressed with? Somebody that's like just stepping up. I mean, obviously you like the guy, got in the win column. But is there a player that you've seen that you really?
Well, Chase Crevichet, obviously, he leads the league in receptions currently. Just a true freshman, and we have asked so much of him, but he responds and continues to respond. He's not only our leading receiver, but he returns kickoffs and punts as well. Has been solid for us from day one, really. And his high school teammate, Mike Juan Johnson, down there at Centennial in Corona. Mike Juan was destined for a red shirt, but because of the injuries at the safety position, we made the decision this time last week to remove the red shirt and get him ready to play. Well, as it turned out, he practiced so well, we decided to start him, and he played most of the game at safety. In his first college game, did a great job there, we felt, and will continue in that role right now, although we do get Eric Powell back this week. But that was our 6th and 7th safeties that started last week. We had Kevin Cooper move from corner to safety just because of the lack of depth that we had there a little bit. So Mike Kwan stepping in really was a great boost to our defense. Cameron Buell's another young player, just a redshirt freshman, that has taken over at the middle linebacker position, and yes, makes mistakes, but they're young mistakes, and hopefully he'll learn from them and keep getting better. But he certainly has shown that he has a bright future with us. So, there's a lot of very good young players. The hope is this week we'll have the same 5 offensive linemen for the first time this year that we had a week ago. The first 5 games we had a different set of linemen to start because of injuries and such. So again, we are getting a little more healthy as we get some of these players that were injured early in the season back, and that should help us as we move forward. There's a lot of football left, and that's been my message to our players. There's an awful lot of football left. We've yet to reach the halfway point of our season, and so we're very disappointed with the way it's gone thus far. But it is not too late to turn this thing around, and that's our plan and our focus as we go back to practice this week.
Coach, a component of your game that's been very consistent and excelled is the special teams, particularly the kicking game. You got Chris Campbell leading the league in punting, 10 inside the 20, and you got Matt Bruder, who's just Mr. Automatic. Talk a little bit about how important that has been, is have that area functioning so well.
The kicking game, special teams, has always been important to us, and it's great to see us do well in that. You're exactly right. Chris Campbell, averaging over 41 yards per punt, has had a number of them down inside the 10-yard line, and that's not just Chris. It's Nate Merrill, our long snapper. He's doing his part. It's the protection, giving Chris the confidence to focus on getting off a great punt, and then it's the coverage aspect, because we also lead in that area as well. Matt Bruder, you mentioned. Matt has been very, very consistent over his time here. Had 2 big field goals on Saturday, and it's great to know that when you get to a certain part of the field, you can really count on the 3 points that he will provide. And again, that's not just Matt, it's those guys that protect for him. It's that snapper, whether it be Nate Merrill or Jarrett Adams in that regard. Our return game is improving, primarily a kickoff return game has improved the last couple of weeks with Jace Crevichet. Jamari Sanders back there has done well, and then we need to do better in our punt return game. We haven't got loose on a return yet, and that's something we feel we're capable of and we'll continue to work on. But we've done a nice job in terms of our special teams, and we need to find an edge, obviously, everywhere we can, and we've looked at the kicking game as being an area that most definitely we can get an edge against our opponents at.
Thanks, Rob.
Okay.
Thank you, Coach.